Let's move on to discuss the topic of activity. As I've mentioned, it's the main component of our application and among the most often used ones. It's responsible for displaying a single application screen. This is the screen with which the user may interact. There is no possibility for two activities to be simultaneously displayed on the screen. In case of a transition from one activity to another, the activity stack is used. It allows stacking activities one upon the other. In such cases, during the transition from one activity to another one, the old activity is saved and the new activity is put on the top of the stack. The moment we want to return, the new activity is removed from the top of the stack and we return to the saved state. Thanks to this, we are able to navigate the history of our activities. This way we can perform more complex actions which require more steps. In the case of applications, we usually have only one activity. It may happen that we have more activities which allow us to enter our application, but there is no requirement to have an activity. As I've already mentioned, there may be applications without a user interface. Activity is a component that has a pretty complex life cycle. Depending on whether it was started a moment ago, closed, or maybe another activity was started simultaneously, different methods are to be called inside a given activity. An activity may potentially have various states. Let's have a look at the diagram which presents the activity life cycle from the moment it started to the moment it ends. We see here mainly three pairs. These are onCreate, onDestroy, onStart, onStop, and onResume, onPause. Three main pairs which create certain closed loops of the life cycle. OnCreate is the method called right after creating an activity. The object of this method is to prepare a given activity for further work. It usually works like a constructor in a way. We set, for instance, a graphical interface and prepare all the components and objects needed later. On the other hand, we have the onDestroy method, which is complementary to it. It's called before the activity is destroyed. Here, the items made on onCreate are most often reversed, unless these are components managed by us. If we have, for instance, a connection with a database open in onCreate, we want to close it in onDestroy. From the programmer's point of view, a far more interesting pair of methods is the pair onResume, onPause. These are the methods which specify the moment when an activity is in the running state. In this moment, activity is visible to the user, and the user may interact with it. It's the most useful moment in terms of the activity lifecycle. OnResume is called directly before the activity is available to the user, and onPause is called the moment before the activity stops being active. It is a bracket that holds a fragment together when an activity is in the running state. Thanks to this, we can handle certain information. The running state is a special moment because now we have a guarantee that the activity will not be destroyed by the system. The moment when the activity is called with the use of the onPause method and goes into a pause state, if there is an activity with a higher priority, it may turn out that the system will destroy the object of our activity because it considers it unnecessary. After calling onPause, we no longer have the guarantee that our object will exist. It's good to remember that because it will greatly influence the use of activity from the code level.